we will be interacting with two beautiful ladies from the Ladies Leadership Network. They are streaming the film Miss Representation, which uncovers the clear reality we live in our society now, where the media represents women in a certain posture. Ladies, welcome. I have on my extreme left Miss Yawa Hansen-Kwao, CEO of the Leading Ladies Network, and Helena Osufojo here is an architect. She'll share with us some of her experiences as a professional woman. Welcome.
Thank you very much for
Now,
having us.
quickly tell us about, no, before you talk, let's now watch the trailer of Miss Representation.
The media is the message and the messenger, and increasingly a powerful one.
In a world of 1 million channels, people try to do more shocking things to break through the clutter. They resort to violent images or sexually offensive images or demeaning images.
When is it gonna be enough?
There is no appreciation for women intellectuals. It's all about the body, not about the brain.
You all saw the photo from the weekend of Hillary looking so haggard and looking like 92 years old.
Breast implants. Did you have them or not?
If you waterboarded Nancy Pelosi, she wouldn't admit to plastic surgery.
The fact that media are so derogatory to the most powerful women in the country, then what does it say about media's ability to take any woman in America seriously?
I have close friends that will go to the bathroom and put on like 10 pounds of makeup, you know, and you're at school to learn.
I remember 5th grade, I was worrying about my weight, and now I'm in 9th grade, I'm still worrying about my weight.
As a culture, women are brought up to be fundamentally insecure.
Media creates consciousness, and if what gets put out there that creates our consciousness is determined by men, we're not going to make any progress.
Little boys and little girls, when they're 7 years old, an equal number want to be president of the United States when they grow up. But then you ask the same question when they're 15, and you see this massive gap emerging.
We're shortchanging voices that are urgently needed in public forums from ever getting to the table.
As the most powerful country in the world, if you're not standing for the right values and for the right principles, that's a loss for the world.
You get a woman in the Oval Office, most powerful person in the world, what's the downside?
You mean besides the PMS and the mood swings?
The media treats women like shit, and it's horrible, and it's like, I don't know how we survive it. I don't know how we rise above it.
You can't be what you can't see.
It's extremely important for women to be writing their own stories and giving them to people to really emotionally become impacted by.
The media can be an instrument of change. It can awaken people and change minds. It depends on who's piloting the plane.
Keeps beating like a hammer.
Welcome back to PM Express, and you saw that trailer, Miss Hansen-Kwao. Tell us about this movie and what everyone who goes to the premiere tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Should expect.
So yes, we are premiering this movie for the first time here in Ghana, and it's actually the first time this movie is being shown in West Africa. And so we are excited as an organization to be the catalyst. Already we've got people from 8 different countries who have booked seats to be there tomorrow for this premiere. This is an award-winning documentary. It is by an American filmmaker, Jennifer Siebel Newsom. And it looks at the media, and for all intents and purposes, it is looking at the American media, but I think it also reflects the media landscape across the world. So it looks at the media landscape and looks at how it seems to have a subliminal messaging towards women. And it seems more negative than positive. And it looks through interviews with women in power and young women in high school, looks at the influence that it has had on their career prospects, on how they think of themselves, and how they consider themselves in relation to leadership. The studies or the stats that come out of this show that an overwhelming majority of young girls are growing up with self-esteem issues because all of the stereotypes or the characters that they see in movies or in music videos reflect a certain mold that is inconsistent with what their education.
But you mentioned young girls growing up with self-esteem issues. There are those who hold the perception that the way women are portrayed in the media is a representation of the way women themselves want to be portrayed, that they put themselves in a certain position to be seen as what we see on TV or hear on radio or see in the movies. What do you say about that?
I strongly disagree with that. I think that media is controlled, and perhaps you perhaps know it better than we do, being a member of the industry. I think media, it's controlled by a select group of people, and that gender is mainly male. And the content that media produces seems to reflect or cater to the whims of a certain type of stereotype. And to advertisers who want to sell products. And a lot of times products get sold by objectifying women in certain ways. It was interesting, I was in a store earlier today. I needed to pick up a charger. And there were so many brands of chargers, and each of them had their packaging. And there was a woman in a bikini selling a charger. There's a woman in a very suggestive pose.
And you're wondering,
and I'm wondering what has this
there?
woman to do with the fact that I need a phone charger. But again, advertisers across the world, again, to sell products, they seem to need to portray us in a certain light. Now, no one tells you with words as a young girl growing up that this is the realm that you are confined to. But all of this is subliminal, that if a young girl at about 7 or 8 years old, all of the characters on TV that she has to see, all of the characters in music videos and media are all male, and those who are successful are all male. No one, it informs her without anyone saying with words that her space is not there. And if all of the characters that are female are represented as half naked, in our film industry, for instance, most women are typecasted to fit a role of manipulative, as witches, as the cause of conflict in families. Again, that's how we perpetuate stereotypes.
Yeah.
And so for young women, it has a greater effect because they, in many ways, have not built the intellectual capacity to question it. So what we want to do by showing this film is to spark a conversation. Yeah. And to use it as a tool for young women, old women, men as well. I think men are a vital part of this conversation. That can we collectively decide to perhaps stop patronizing certain products that objectify or send this kind of message across to our daughters?
Now, Helena, you have the want to borrow the expression you use, the intellectual capacity to reject these stereotypes. You as an architect, architecture is male dominated, I should say, I think so. Now, how do you want to be seen as a woman who is an architect? What kind of representation do you want people to have of you when they come into first contact with you? Professionally, I mean.
Yeah. As an architect, first of all, if somebody is coming to me as an architect, I want the person to see me as an architect who can deliver.
No, that's a beautiful woman.
Well, the person will come in, but that is not the main thing. I want the person to see what I can do.
Yeah.
And not the person patronizing my services because of what I look like. Because what I can deliver as an architect is something good.
Which goes beyond your nice face.
Exactly. So I want the person to appreciate that aspect, what I'm doing with my work as an, because actually that's why the person came in, actually. So
you, as a member of the Leading Ladies Network, possibly is also championing this cause. I call it more like an education, educating our society to be aware that human beings must be accepted for their capacity, who they are, not just what they look like. And that refers to women as well.
Exactly.
Do you or have you kind of experienced such stereotypes in your working relationship here in Ghana? Maybe you can share with us one or two distinct experiences you think we can learn lessons from.
Yeah, I would like to say definitely for us as leading ladies, what we are championing basically is that God definitely gives everybody who comes into this world intellect, purpose for the person to be fulfilled in this life, whether the person be male or female. So the person definitely, and whatever purpose God gives the person, God gives the person the ability as well to be able to pursue that purpose. So if I, for instance, am an architect, it means that for me to have chosen that line of profession, that is what God has put in me, and that is what I'm working towards, yes. But what I wouldn't want, or what at times happens, is that because you're a woman, people want to
hit on you.
Well, not well. That aside, but when you're taking certain stands or certain positions, people expect, no, why is she being so stern, or why is she being so strong?
Be flexible
exactly.
Because you're a woman.
Exactly.
Right. So
but
this mentality is not only among Ghanaian men. It's something that you recognize internationally, right?
It's a worldwide phenomenon, and it's interesting. In school, there are young girls who said, I raise up my hand, I speak in class, and I say something, and the professor just brushes it off. Yeah. But some guy says the exact same thing I've said, and he's brilliant. Yeah. Or I'm in the workplace, and I have done something, and it's being, okay, I've done it, but a man does it and he's brilliant. Many times, especially the way when you speak up, for instance, they say you are troublesome. When a man speaks up, he's bold. So just even the choice of words to describe the exact same behavior, because it's interesting to see how the same behavior that we excuse in men, we disallow in women. So if you are outspoken, you're an outlier. You're called a witch. You are this, you are that. You'll never marry. And it's not just men who tell you this. It's other women as well. So young women grow up with this conflicting message, especially with this whole wave of empowerment. It seems to tell us, it seems to send us, rather, a very mixed message. What does it mean to be empowered? Does it mean that I need to be overly aggressive and to stomp on other people to get what I want? And I think that's produced a certain breed of women that kind of also, cater to a different extreme.
I'll come back to you for you to quickly tell me what you expect men to do. But let's hear some of our messages. Those of you who posted your messages on our Facebook wall, facebook.com/MultiTV Ghana. Here, Isaac Banini says, the media has brought the woman to the limelight by way of its contribution, giving the woman the platform to express herself. The media has raised the rights of the woman, especially the young ones, to the public domain, and also create the awareness for the growth and development of the woman, especially the young ones. And Benjamin Bonti, who is our regular contributor, says, women are very instrumental in the growth and development of our society. And I think the perception in the media that women are their own enemies when it comes to progress, holding a higher office in society, etc., must be ignored and inculcate the spirit of can-do in them right from their infancy in order for them to excel in business. And then Daniel Onyini says the only thing the media has done wrong in respect of women is by portraying women as weak vessels and as a sex symbol. Bonti again says media houses have made women who are setting a credible standard and living a good exemplary life. It does appear that many of our viewers who are interacting with us on Facebook agree with your theme and the effort you're putting in. Tell us about what your expectation of men generally I mean, what do you expect men to do in response to these stereotypes that are raising their, I could say, ugly heads?
I think the expectation, and maybe Helena can come in as well, I think the expectation is not just an expectation we have of men. I think the expectation is across board, that when we see media, or we should stop consuming media that objectifies women. I think we should also speak up when we feel that women are being stereotyped in certain ways. And I think that goes for men as well. I remember we had a session and we were talking, and there was someone who's a male nurse. And you know, men are outliers in the nursing industry. Yeah. And so they face the exact same scrutiny and you know, that women face as well. So regardless of who's being stereotyped, I think the hope is the same, that whether it's men or women who are being typecasted into a certain role, that as Helena was mentioning before, we should not ostracize people who choose to pursue a path that's outside of what tradition prescribes. And we must get over the fact that we live in a part of the world where tradition, to a large extent, determines the path that most women's lives take. So even when women are in the corporate world or in the professional world, there is an overwhelming, a greater burden socially on them than men face. And there is somewhat of a double standard. When women put themselves up for political office, for instance, they get asked questions that would never be asked of a man. Who's going to look after your kids? But you never ask the male candidate those same questions. When you introduced us tonight, for instance, you mentioned that we were beautiful women. Yes, that's a compliment, but that's not all we are. You know what I mean?
We are exploring the challenge, I call it challenge, of negative stereotyping against women, and the group which is championing this is the Leading Ladies Network. I have in the studio with me, and I've been doing all this discussion, Helena Owusu-Forjo, who is an architect, and then Yawa Hansen-Kwao, who is the CEO of Leading Ladies Network. Now, Helena, tell me, what do you expect the man or society to perceive you as? I mean, I know I've asked you that question in direct relation to your job as an architect professionally, but on the broader level in society, how do you want to be seen?
I want to look at it from this direction, that society should eschew the right virtues, talking about excellence, you know, integrity, diligence, hard work, perseverance.
Transparency.
Exactly.
Honesty.
Eschew it in whether it be a male or a female.
Yeah.
So when that happens, if a girl child is, you know, through societal upbringing, the girl child eschews excellence. Excellence means that not only in the workplace or excellence in the classroom, she'll also be excellent in the kitchen.
Personal life as
yes,
well, right?
As a mother, as a wife, whichever way.
Okay. So, Yawa, you tell me about this movie, the premiere, which is taking place tomorrow. I mean, I'm sure many of our viewers would like to go watch it. Tell me about the premiere and what everybody should expect.
Well, we recognize that women wear several hats. And one of the challenges that brings with it is, you know, how do you want yourself to be perceived? So this movie is really something that we are excited to be showing, and we are premiering it tomorrow evening at 5:30 at the Silverbird Cinema. Entry is free. However, we do encourage a donation toward the cost of it as well. Like I said before, we have very limited seats available. Because it's the first time it's being shown in West Africa, there's been a lot of interest. We do have very few limited seats available, so for those who may be interested in attending, they can call our number. May I give the number?
Yes.
It's 020-637-6427 if you want a seat.
Go ahead and give it again.
020-637-6427. Please give us a call and try to reserve a seat as soon as possible. But again, Our purpose is simple. We don't have an agenda beyond sparking a conversation. The most important changes happen when we start talking. And I think that this is one of the issues that hasn't been talked about enough. So we are excited to be the catalyst. We're inviting people, not just women, but men. We have a cross-section of the society coming. We've got members of parliament, we've got ambassadors, we've got students, we've got housewives, we've got a wide spectrum of people who will be attending. And I think just as important as screening the movie is what follows after. We have a 1-hour community discussion. We want to just talk about it. These questions you've asked us tonight, these are the questions we'll be asking tomorrow night. What do we as members of society do to deal with this menace? Because it really erodes the gains that we make in terms of women's empowerment and in terms of liberating young women to think more, to think bigger, and to dream and aim for bigger, when every day they're bombarded with images of them not being big. So it's a really, really important cause. We're excited about its potential, and we believe that we can really use this film as a tool to spark social change.
Spark social change, that is what it is. And we will continue enjoying this conversation right beyond this studio. And thanks, ladies, for joining us. And we will continue to eschew positive virtues and shun negative virtues and portray our women in a positive light.